What if there was a podcast where one NFL legend talked about football? What about two NFL legends, huh? What about three? This is Wideout's World, where the gridiron comes alive. NFL legends Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Three NFL legends breaking down the game from the ultimate insider perspective. Game recaps, upcoming previews, and exclusive analysis straight from the minds of those who've been in the trenches. Wideout's World. Let's do it.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Ready for some football? It's Wildcard Weekend. What's going on, everybody? We are back. This is Wideout's World. I know we missed a couple of weeks, but Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year to everybody who's watching right now.
Happy New Year.
We got a bunch of folk. We got a bunch of folk waiting for us today. I see you in the house. I'm Irving Fryar. This is Michael Timpson over here, former teammate of mine, former NFL wide receiver over here, Freddie Barnett. You were my teammate in the air, Fred, because we went. When I went to Philadelphia, you went to Miami, so we just kind of passed same time.
In the night. We just
passed. Yeah, passed in the
night.
So
yes, sir.
before we
Happy
get started,
New Year.
Happy New Year, Fred. You've been all over the place. Tell the people where you've been the last couple of weeks, man. You just,
goodness gracious,
world traveler. So I'm surprised you got back. They didn't keep you.
Well, first of all, we were all up at 3:00 in the morning looking at each other because we were on Nairobi, African time, and it's 8 hours ahead. So it was like 12 o'clock noon in Nairobi and 4 o'clock here, 4:30 here, and we were all up, just like we're not even asleep. But we just got on the on African time, and it just kind of screwed us up. But we were in Nairobi. We went to Lake Nakuru, where all the flamingos are. We actually went to Masai Mara, which is where my wife and I got married 15 years ago, and the chief in the village who married us named our kids. So the kids got their African names. Don't ask me what they are. I got them written down here somewhere. But we had a great time.
Did the chief sign your marriage license?
No, he didn't. No, it wasn't like that. We had to, of course, come back here to get it, legal.
I guess say, Doc, you better legitimize that thing.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Wow.
But we had a great time. Had an absolutely great time. Went to Mount Kenya, which was unbelievable. We saw a number of animals. The only thing we didn't see was a cheetah, but we saw a buffalo. Saw a lion kill a buffalo. The kids just sitting there in our truck, watching the lion just eat a buffalo.
Wow!
And for them, it just blew the kids' minds.
So let me ask you a question. When you do those safaris and you sitting in the truck, do they give you a gun? Or you just sitting there just in the truck?
Or does somebody have a gun?
No, usually we don't have guns. Now, what we did is we had a breakfast. We had a private breakfast, and we got out, of course. But we had two guards there, two rangers there with guns, and of course, any animal could just walk up. But we, got in a somewhat secluded area. But the thing is that the wild animals, the animals that are in the wild are not really threatened by humans. Now, if you come out and be aggressive toward, say a lion, he's gonna be like, "What's up?" But I mean, we just drove right by lions that's just sitting there, and they look at us like there's no threat. And lion is one of the animals that really doesn't have a threat in the bush. I mean, nobody messes with the lion. Nobody.
He's the king of the jungle. And, so they safari. So it's almost like they fattened you up for the kill.
Yep. I don't know if they let me.
We had a great time.
I need a gun. You gotta give me a
man,
pistol.
y'all.
You gotta give me something.
Let me tell you something.
Hmm?
Y'all, both of y'all, before it's over, I'm gonna get both of y'all on the plane, and we going to Europe.
What's in
Neither
Europe?
one of y'all, one of y'all. We're gonna go and see the world. We're
What's in
gonna go to
Europe?
London. We're going somewhere.
No, I
We're
want.
going
You
to
know where
London. We're going to
I want
Paris.
to go. I've been studying. I've been doing some research. You know where I want to go?
Where?
I want to go to
Where?
Bangkok. I want to go to Bangkok.
That's a long flight, bro.
I know, but it's from what I'm reading and seeing, it's a place that is really, first of all, it's really, really safe. It's a really, really safe
Hmm.
place. Inexpensive, but I don't want to go just because it's inexpensive. I
Yeah.
believe it's beautiful. But the food is supposed to be really good. You can stay in
Yeah.
a 4-star hotel for like $60 a night. It's
Yeah.
a cab ride is anywhere from $2 to $10. And the sightseeing is phenomenal. The food is
Yeah.
again, just off the charts. And obviously the scenery that you get an opportunity to experience is second to none. So yeah,
And
that's
the only thing about trips like that, and of course even our trip, it's just the amount of time that you're in the air. We were 8 hours to Paris and had a layover, and then we were
Hold on.
seven and
Gee said that we are going in and out. You only hear every other word.
okay. It says live again. Maybe that's why nobody was. There's a bunch of people watching right now, but nobody was saying anything. So let's see where we are now. We're back live again. Technical difficulties, boy, I tell you. I'm trying to
the
find us.
techies.
Okay, that's live. Are we back live again? Okay, it looks like, to me, it looks like we're back live again. All right, Mama, can you text us again or send a message again? Anybody who's watching right now, what does the broadcast be popping in and out? Is there something going on or are we straight? I have us, I'm looking on my phone now. It looks like we're okay. Did it improve? Who wrote that? You, Mike? Did it
Yep.
improve?
All right.
Are we okay? Okay,
All right.
anybody? Can somebody holler at us?
That's
We're
what
good.
Let us know.
Melton. Richard said it sounds good to him.
He said,
Okay.
and
Perfect.
don't forget, go Bills. Mama, are we okay? I want to make sure my mom's okay. Mom, are we okay? Write us. Let me know.
Come on, Mama.
All right.
Don't you rush my mama.
All right. Well, in the meantime, let's go ahead and hit it.
Let's come on. Let's hit
Yeah,
it.
as is custom here, we start off the show with our news of the week. Something hot going on in the NFL that we have not really talked about amongst ourselves, but we pick a subject that piques our. So, Mike, you go first with your news of the week.
Holla.
Your mom said it's not totally good, so I don't
Not
know what that
totally
means. So
good.
we're
I
gonna
wonder.
roll. We're gonna roll with it.
We're
All
gonna have
right.
to. We're
Okay.
going. Yeah, we're good.
We're going. All right.
It could be
News
her
of the week.
internet too.
News of the week. Let's see. You
Mhm.
want to start off with Tyreek Hill? He says, "I'm out."
Oh,
Listen,
Tyree.
go ahead and say what you got to say about that, Mike, because I got a whole
So,
dissertation about that cat.
okay. All right. So I just don't understand it. I mean,
Yeah, right.
it was right after the game, and he out, and it's almost like, and see, I know his agent is Drew Rosenhaus. I know
Mhm.
Rosenhaus a little bit.
Yeah.
That to me sounds like something Rosenhaus told him to throw that out there because you know throw your rod in the water and see what sticks. Because that all that does is
Yeah.
start the whole thing starting. And a lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets out of there. For him to say
Yeah.
that then, it's almost, for me, it was calculated.
I think it's going to get worse. Even the good players are not going to be team players. I think you're going to be, there are times when I know everybody has heard this. There are times when we've heard the phrase prima donna, as it relates to wide receivers. We kind of like, want to do our own thing, want things our way. It's really, I think, going to get a lot worse. Guys making a ton of money. Uh, it, it, I can't say that I blame the cheetah, but if I'm looking through his eyes, I'm looking at my quarterback who is susceptible to a ton of injuries, and I'm thinking about if you're thinking about okay, how can I establish myself to be possibly, a Hall of Fame player? Do I really want to be, with this team and with a quarterback that could take one hit and he's out, and my potential close to 1,800, 2,000 yards turn into 750, 1,000 yards. So I don't want to say I necessarily understand that because I think all three of us had a team player mindset and that hey, what do we need to do for the team? But I think it's just this generation, man, that's just always on the move, looking for something better, looking
Chasing that
for
bag.
the grass is green on the other side, no pun intended, as in green. So and I think we're going to continue to hear this from a lot of guys that we think that are good players and that we think are team players, and they're really just kind of out for themselves.
First of all, or great points, guys. The grass is greener where you water it.
True.
The grass is greener where you water it.
Okay.
When he made
He was
that
getting
statement,
water. He was getting water. He was getting water.
listen, when he made that statement, first of all, you leave Kansas City and you dog your quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Well, Tua Tagovailoa is a really good quarterback, and he kind of threw Patrick Mahomes under the bus. And so he had a good year or two with Tua at the quarterback, but then Tua missed 6 games this year, and obviously
Yeah.
the Cheetahs' numbers went down, and they didn't make the playoffs. So you had a year. I mean, it wasn't totally bad. They weren't the worst team in the league, but they didn't make the playoffs. So you had an off year. Let's say an off year. It wasn't a bad year. It was an off year. And you're going to have a hissy fit and want to take your ball and go home. And
Yeah.
and he made it clear it's about him, about me is
Yeah.
what he said, not about team.
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm another team on another team as a player, and they're talking about bringing him in, I don't want him on my team because it's just a matter of
Exactly.
another year or two before he's going to do the same thing again. And then I went back. I'm like, this cat here, man. I went back and I started watching some games on him. I started watching what I could see in terms of one-on-ones and him running routes. First of all, did you see him last year? What was it? Patrick Surtain or somebody took him and quick jammed him into the ground on the line of scrimmage. Did y'all see that? Last year, he was at the line of scrimmage and he got punked and jammed into the ground, down on the ground. How many times that happened to you, Mike, in your career?
A couple times.
That happened to you a couple times?
On the
You got
ground?
jammed like that?
When I was a
Not
rookie.
on the ground, Mike.
When you was
not
rookie.
on the
Well,
ground.
you
No,
was
not on the ground.
But
Yeah, not on the
we
ground.
all got jammed at some point. But how many times that happened to you, Fred? No, he got thrown,
Not
jammed into the ground.
No, I don't get jammed on the ground.
In a game.
We're gonna start wrestling. We're gonna start wrestling if it gets to that point. I'm going
Exactly.
down.
He went down. He jammed him into the ground. That's never happened to me ever. Not even my rookie year with Raymond Claiborne. Like you said, Mike, if it's going that far, we both going down. Ain't gonna
both
be
going
just me.
down, yeah.
We both going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started
Exactly.
watching him run his routes and stuff. Doc, he ain't that good. He's not a good route runner. He can't.
But you remember,
he's just
but
fast.
wait, we talked about that. We said just get open. So for the last couple
I understand.
of years, all he needed to do just get open. He throw him the ball, and he made
that,
the play.
and that's where I'm going with this. He made a statement a few weeks ago about the fact that receivers today, and he was talking about himself, receive game no more than the receivers back in the day. That's a bunch of almost cuss. That's a bad bunch of you know what, y'all. What? He doesn't know how to run routes. He doesn't know how to run the route tree. He doesn't leverage his guys. He doesn't position them the right way when he gets by him. He doesn't stack them the way we were taught how to do to give the quarterback an opportunity to throw that ball outside. He doesn't do any of that. He's just fast. He's fast, and he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
And because he's fast, defensive backs are scared of him getting behind them. So they give him room.
You know
He
why
ain't
I'm
that
laughing?
good. He ain't that good. He ain't that good.
You know why
It
I'm
ain't about
laughing?
him.
You
They
know?
don't need
Do
him.
you know? Do you know why I'm laughing right now?
He ain't my
Mike, you know
dude
why
no
I'm
more, man.
laughing?
I'm done with the cheetah. I'm done.
Mike, you know why I'm laughing, Mike?
Why are you laughing?
The first couple of shows we had,
He was my
I
dude.
was
That's
like,
right. He was my
I was
dude.
like, I was like, he is not a good wide. Y'all like, oh, yes, yeah. I'm
And
like,
that's why I'm being so
I'm talking
adamant
about
right now. That's why I'm being so
a
animated
bona
right now,
fide.
because I chose him as my dude. And I'm disappointed. I'm disgusted. I am really frustrated with him right now. Okay, he got treated wrong by the cops and that kind of stuff. But listen, as far as
Oh, yeah,
football,
they had to do it.
dude is selfish.
He's a
He's
fast
double.
ass athlete.
He's double-minded. Double-minded.
Yeah,
And you know what? A
he's a
double-minded person is
very good
unstable in
athlete.
all the ways.
Very good athlete.
Okay,
I'm
He's a
done
tell us
with
how
him.
tremendous
you feel.
athlete.
Tell us how
I'm
you
done
feel,
with him.
Herb.
I'm done
Okay.
with him. I'm
Athlete.
done with him. I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I'm glad you brought it up. I had to get that off my chest.
Can we go to any other news? Are you
You
okay
got
to
some,
go to any
Any
other
other
news?
news?
Fred, you got some news?
Oh, Jones. When they first mentioned the possibility of other teams talking to McCarthy, Jerry Jones is like, well, he can do whatever he wants to do. He has the freedom to do that. And then once Chicago came forward, he denied them, which was very interesting. But that to me is really not
McCarthy's
the
out.
biggest.
McCarthy's like
McCarthy's
deuces.
gone.
McCarthy's out.
The biggest story when I think about Gerard Mayo, who's at the Patriots, that in my opinion, and I think a lot of people have been talking about it, is somewhat a very unfair firing. I can't think of any coach, even an active coach right now, who would have had the tools that he had in terms of the players. What could he have possibly done in his first year to do better about this for a while? And one of the coaches that coached both of us, Irv, I think probably would have done maybe a little better, and that's John Gruden. And I
Mm.
and I and I I really feel that John would it probably would have been a better coach than Mayo, and that's just my opinion.
Oh,
But
there's no doubt in my
yeah,
mind.
yeah. So would he
That John
won?
Gruden's a better coach than
Yeah.
75% of the coaches in the league right now.
So, but the thing is that with what the Patriots had in terms of players this past offseason, would have gone 500. I don't think so. I don't know if he would have had a winning season. And of course, Antonio Pierce. Uh, I knew he wasn't in control
Right,
when they hired him
right.
because so apparently allegedly his father actually is from Bermuda, and of course some of my Bermudian buddies, they were like, oh my gosh, Tonio's father's from here, he's coaching for the Vegas, and he's going to do great. And when they hired Antonio Pierce, the organization made a statement about who the starting quarterback was going to be. So at
Mm-hmm.
that point, in my opinion, the organization was letting everybody know who was in control. We just hired a head coach, and we're going to make a statement about who we think the quarterback should be. So,
Right.
in their opinion, I think that they were letting Antonio know that his time was, basically being watched, and he took over as an interim coach mid-season last season. Of course, coached this season and went 14-3. Doug Peterson, he's going to get on somewhere, but he had a disappointing season with the Jaguars. But it was the league is on fire right now, and nobody's burning up, but a lot of people are leaving. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of unfolds and who goes where, because there's a lot of pretty
Listen,
good coaches out there. And Irv, also let me say I've been hearing John Gruden, is possibly back in the running for some for a head coaching position, and that would be great because I think that John, in my opinion, all the coaches I've had, John's probably the most knowledgeable,
yep,
most
yeah, by far.
probably the best coach that I've been coached by.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
He's a really good coach. Richard Melton says Robert Kraft fired Mayo so he didn't miss out on Mike Vrabel. So
I agree
he
with
says
that.
Mike Vrabel is Patriots' next head coach.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I mean, there's also some word because Tom Brady is a part owner of the Raiders now, and
Yeah.
they're looking for a new head coach right now, and we know that Belichick was hired by North Carolina, but there's talk
Yep.
about Brady, trying to influence Belichick to come from North Carolina to come out there and coach the Raiders. So there's a whole lot of
Guess what his buyout is at North Carolina?
what
Only $10 million. That's a
only
wrap.
That's done.
only $10
It's
million
only
dollars.
$10 million.
Yeah, they're
That's a
gonna
wrap.
buy that out. That's a wrap. His buyout. Plus North Carolina had to know. They had to know
Yeah.
that at some point, whether it was this year or next year or maybe 2 years, at some point he was going to be sought out by an NFL team to be a head coach. So
As a
But
I
matter of
don't
fact,
think that was. I don't think that was very because you got there was always going to be a quick turnaround.
Well, Fred and I talked about it, Irv. You were out that
yeah, I
time,
was just about to say,
for getting your
yeah,
award. Fred and I talked about it, that we kind of
Yeah.
felt he was leveraging,
Mhm.
okay, y'all don't want to hire me, I'm gonna go over here.
Right,
But if something comes up,
Right.
I think he's keeping that door open. So
Of
I
course.
wouldn't be surprised if it happened, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, he
I would not be surprised
Belichick
at all.
didn't go to North Carolina to stay at North Carolina, not at all. and imagine I thought it was a ploy anyway because imagine Belichick
Yeah.
dealing with 18-year-old,
I can't-
19-year-old dudes, man.
I can't imagine.
It's
I can't imagine.
not going to happen.
Can't imagine.
He's not going to last there long, or those kids are not going to last long. Something's going to give, and it's going to give quick. So
Yeah.
Belichick is not going. He didn't go to North Carolina to stay with any intention of staying at North Carolina for any kind of extended period of time at all. My little bit of news is just something, just a tickle, just like you guys are talking about, is Howie Roseman is the general manager for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's done a phenomenal job over the past, oh my gosh, I mean, just this whole story, being there, the GM, and then getting fired and coming back and working his way back up into that position. And then when he got back into that position, he became, probably, the best, if not one of the best general managers in the NFL. And now he has this team in a position, the Philadelphia Eagles, with a young squad. I think they have 2 guys that are over 30 on the squad. You got a lot of young players, a lot of great young players. You got guys making the Pro Bowl. Jalen Carter made the Pro Bowl this year for the first time. You got kid from Nebraska, Cam Jurgens, the first time starting center. He's Pro Bowl. So got a great team going on and has done this in the draft, starting a couple years ago. And now the Jets are seeking Howie Roseman out, and they're offering him not only the bag, but they're offering him stake in the team to come and do his thing with the Jets. If I'm Howie Roseman, guess what? I'm out. I'm going to the Jets. And because if he's that good, which I believe he is, he can work his magic with the Jets. And look, Philadelphia's a great market, but New York's a bigger market.
Let me ask you this,
Philadelphia.
Let me ask you this, Irv. You're Howie Roseman.
Yep.
Now, Howie, I need you to justify why you want to go to the Jets.
Because I always need a challenge. I put Philadelphia not just on the map, but I put them in a great position to be successful for the next 4 or 5 years. All they got to do is just continue to do what I've done. I need another challenge. I need another challenge, just like I had when I first got to Philadelphia.
Okay,
when I came back to
that.
Philadelphia.
So basically, you would trade in challenges for championships, possible championship.
Yeah, if I'm a competitor like that, yeah, he gonna get a championship this year.
That's what I mean. What he could possibly, if it goes right, he could possibly win a championship this year. He could possibly win a championship next year.
Yeah.
But to go to the Jets,
after that, what do I do then? When you get a championship, what do you do? What do I do
win
now?
another one.
No, you
win another
go
one.
and you overcome another mountain.
No. I don't need no mountain.
Listen, first
But
of all, it's not
New York is no joke, man.
No, I know New York is no joke, and that's why you overcome. You go. It's a great challenge, a great opportunity. You go and you grab the monkey by the neck and choke him and kill him and bring in the lion. Bring in the lion. Was that a good illustration?
You went to the monkey.
A good illustration. I want a good illustration.
Tigers and bears.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! I think it's a great opportunity for him to go and show that he can be that it was him. That it wasn't the organization, but it was him.
I think everybody knows it's him.
Well, then he'll be able to go do the same thing with the Jets. And listen, they offer him
personnel. And they're not going to have the same personnel. It's going to take a while to get that personnel.
Of course, it's going to take a while.
That time gets over, they're going to run him out of New York.
No, not as long as they're not completely failing. Listen, they offer him stake in the team.
Okay,
that's generational wealth, man.
That's
rare. That's generational wealth. That's my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids are going to be taken care of.
Okay. The only thing that I wouldn't want to see is that he turns.
No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that.
Well, Jerry Jones basically was a GM with the Cowboys.
Eddie Casper said, "Dang, Irv." Eddie Casper, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. Is Billy Bell in the house? I don't see Billy Bell. Oh, Billy Bell is in the house. How you doing, Billy Bell? Everybody, guys. Billy Bell had some surgery a couple of weeks ago. I was at a tailgate prior to the Dallas game with Ed Casper and Billy Bell, and Billy was telling me he was going to have some surgery. So, Billy, we hope that surgery went well for you. We see you on tonight, I'm going to assume you're okay. I think that's fair to assume now that you're with us on the podcast, on the show. Richard Melton's in the house. Eddie Casper, I told you, Mom. I think Mom is having problems with her internet because everybody else says we're okay.
All right. Well, be a good son. You go take care of that when we're done. All right, I got a question for you, both of you, real quick before you get into the list, Irv.
What list?
The rest of our show.
Oh, okay.
MVP. Just give me your pick. MVP.
Wait. Billy Bell and Eddie Casper are friends. Billy Bell said, all good, Herb. Eddie Casper said, sex change. Eddie Casper's friend said Billy Bell had a sex change.
Oh, no.
Eddie, you funny, man. You crazy. Wow. Billy, that's your friend. That's your buddy.
So it's Betty Bell now, huh?
Go ahead, Mike.
It's Betty Bell now.
Betty Bell.
All right. Before we get into the meat of everything, MVP this year. Who's your MVP? Don't give me the commentary. Just give me the name.
You got to let me think about it for a second.
Oh, you want to go? Oh, I don't have to think about it.
Go ahead, Fred.
Hey, dude. 2,000 yards, Saquon Barkley. Running back get 2,000 yards is a mountain to climb for me.
Okay. All right.
You're saying okay. You're saying the MVP of the league,
MVP.
Right?
MVP of the
Based
league.
on what I believe MVP means, I have to say Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm so sick of y'all homers. You know that?
No, I'm not saying it because
I live in Bermuda.
But I said
you got 2,000 yards, bro.
I said because of this, and it's not just the 2,000 yards. If he didn't get 2,000 yards, I would still say he's the MVP because the Eagles are the Eagles and would not be the Eagles if it weren't for Saquon Barkley.
Okay, hold that thought. I'm going to use that same rationale with Josh Allen, with what he has done this year.
Look, Richard Melton is loving you. Richard Melton's loving you right now.
But let's just be truthful about it. What he has done with the lust, that's MVP, man. I mean, to me,
I thought you were gonna say Brock Purdy, Mike.
Well, but you know what? They have, but they watch this. They, the team, the Buffalo Bills, offensively, have done something that has never been accomplished in the NFL, the history of the NFL, ever offensively. They have 30 touchdowns through the air and 30 touchdowns on the ground, rushing. No team in the history of the NFL has ever done that before.
I mean,
that's amazing.
I mean, I mean, it's amazing. He's the job that he's done, taking nothing from Lamar. And because I went back and forth between those two, to be honest with you, but I looked at the value brings good because
Hmm.
they can run the ball with Henry and get away with it. I think where Lamar is obviously in Baltimore, but Josh Allen
Yeah.
for what he has done with the lack of people, I just got to give the nod to him, and I'll say that
Yeah.
respectfully, a nod, because
Yeah.
obviously Lamar is worthy as well, and I like Saquon, 2,000 yards. I agree with you that should be noted, but we know that this is a quarterback's award for the most part.
Well,
So let me ask you.
but that's also the unique thing about Saquon. 2 years ago, they were talking about running backs being obsolete. They didn't want to pay running backs.
True.
They didn't want to give it. Running backs were struggling that were free agents trying to find a team, trying to get paid. And here he is 2 years later being dogged by the Giants last year. Hard Knocks, we saw that on Hard Knocks. And here he is, 2,000 yards. And he got his 2,000. Listen, they talk about, okay, it took him more games to get it, so on and so forth. I look at the carries. He probably would have broke Eric Dickerson's record with
he
fewer
had
carries.
35.
He had 35 carries less than
yes.
And it would not have taken him 35 carries to get 100 yards or 101 yards.
Nope.
So, but when you look at this team, four games into the season, going into the bye, they were struggling. They were 2-2. Then they decided to run the ball. Nobody's thrown the ball less than the Philadelphia Eagles this year. The Philadelphia Eagles have thrown the ball less than everybody else in the NFL, but they run the ball more than anybody. Who is that? Saquon Barkley.
So Mike, let me ask you this, Mike. You asked Irving and I to pick our MVPs, and then you mentioned that you would give a nod. Is that something different, or is it the same?
No, I said I'm giving my vote to the MVP to Josh Allen.
But he wins he wins by just a nod.
Over Lamar. That's what I meant.
Okay.
So Saquon's third in his MVP, if at all. Third.
That's
third
hard for me. He's a Penn State. That's hard for me, but I just based on what I had already told you guys. So
yeah. I mean, you
he jumps over people backwards, man. How can you not give? He jumps over people backwards.
The MVP is not based on you jumping over somebody backwards. Stop.
But he did. Nobody's ever. You've never seen anybody do that ever.
Okay, so let's give him an award for jumping over somebody backwards.
Now you can jump over people backwards in the video games, the football video games. Now you can jump over players backwards in the video games.
It's too much.
Turn and jump.
All right. I'm done.
You started it. You started the pot. So what's the surprise of the week for you guys? What's your surprise of the week, Fred?
Surprise. There's this new dance called the Pittsburgh Slide. Slide to the left.
He froze. Okay, he froze. You froze.
Slide to the back. Can y'all hear me? I don't know what happened.
You froze for a second.
Oh, there I go.
There you are.
There you go.
That was on your slide.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Slide, man. They lost the last 4 games. And in my opinion, the worst loss was to Cincinnati. I really thought they would beat Cincinnati. And if based on the way they started and how the season was going, I would have said that when I looked at the Kansas City, Baltimore, and Philly right before Cincinnati, I would have thought, even if it would possibly would have been Philly, I would have thought that they would have gone 2 for 2 with those 4 games. But they only lost. They just lost to Cincinnati. Kansas City beat them. Baltimore beat them, and Philly beat them. And as a matter of fact, when they came to Philly, I thought that they possibly would give Philly a run for their money. But of course, they're still in the playoffs at 10-7. They're okay, but they just took a slide, man. And it started with Philly, and I think Baltimore was after that, and then KC got a hold to them, and then
maybe they got it beat out of them.
Cincinnati, the last game, I really thought that they would pull that one off, because Cincinnati is not quite where they want to be. But there's a new dance. It's a Pittsburgh Slide, and hopefully, Mike Tomlin we'll get it. We'll get it. Back on track. And there've been some
Not this
talk, just some
not this
little
weekend
birds
he
here,
won't. Not this weekend
is,
he won't.
saying that there's a possibility that the Steelers could trade Mike Tomlin. And I tell you what, if Mike Tomlin is available, you will have teams that have their coaches intact that will be like, okay, I'm sorry, you have to go. We got to take Tom. He would take somebody's position. But the Pittsburgh slide is my surprise.
The Pittsburgh slide. We don't have here it is.
Pittsburgh slide.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. What you got, Mike?
My surprise was Atlanta losing to Carolina. They had everything to play for, and they go there and hatch an egg against Carolina. And I'm sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, Bryce Young threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for 2. He had no sacks. And this is a team, Atlanta, talking about going into the playoffs. And, the problem is not with the offense. Their defense is atrocious. And when you think about their coach, he was known for defense, and they're just, they're just bad. I just was surprised how they had everything to play for, and then they couldn't get it going against Carolina. And so I'm not so sure. I'm looking for him, but the owner is a little bit better. But Morris, if he's not careful, because remember a couple of weeks before that, he blew that the clock management. And they get rid of coaches when you jack up clock management like that.
Yeah,
and so if he's
causing the team to lose,
and playoffs, really, if you think back to that one, that could have been the difference in them making the playoffs. So I'm not so sure about him. I like him. I like what they were doing this year. I like the new quarterback, but that was a surprise for me.
Stephen Pace. Stephen Pace is in the house from Tennessee. What up, bro?
Tennessee.
Nice.
Carolina put up 44.
Buck Nation. There's somebody said Buck Nations. Buck Nation is on. Surprised? Yeah. Man, the Falcons going Falcon. He said, the Falcons going to Falcon. yeah, that's what they did. He's in Buck Nation, so I'm sure he's a Buccaneers fan.
We're gonna talk about Tampa in a little bit, but go ahead.
We're gonna talk about Tampa in a little bit. So my surprise is this. It's a surprise. It's a surprise from either side. So whether you wanted it or whether you didn't want it, it's still a surprise. All week long, everybody up this way was talking about, actually they were talking about it nationally because it was a national subject, about Saquon Barkley and him playing in the last game of the season that really didn't mean anything to obtain 101 yards so he could break the all-time single-season rushing record, which has been held for 40 years now by Eric Dickerson. And everybody was going back and forth. If he plays, then the starters got to play, need to rest them. They haven't had a bye since, week 5. And there was just 1 or 2 players that mentioned to the media, I prefer the rest. But the rest of the players on the Eagles that were asked the question, do you want to go for the record? You would have to play. The starters would have to play. They were like, well, yeah, it's our record. It's a record we would be able to earn. Yes, Saquon will get it, but we can say we helped him get it with the offensive line. We really want this, so on and so forth. And the decision was made not to play the starters. The decision was made by the higher-ups, whether it was Nick Sirianni or Howie Roseman or Jeffrey Lurie. It wasn't made by the players. Saquon was heard saying, I would love to get the record, yes, but whatever decision the coach makes, I'm going with it. And he sat back and let the coach make the decision. And obviously the opportunity, which was right there, which probably, more than likely, he would have broken the record had he played, but it was snatched away from him. Here's my take on that. I put myself in Saquon Barkley's position. As Saquon Barkley, being the competitor that he is, being the competitor that I was and am still as a former player, I would want the record. I would want the record. I would talk to my teammates. Listen, let's get this thing. Let's go out and get it. I would want the record. I never went to a game thinking about I'm going to get hurt. even when I was already hurt before the game started, I never thought about I'm going to get hurt worse. I just went and played. You go and you play.
Yeah.
I think the decision that was made, yes, probably more than likely should have been made or had to be made. Why? Because if the team went out, Saquon starts with all the starters and somebody got hurt for whatever reason and it hindered their ability to advance in the playoffs, then it would have been a history of Philadelphia sports, and Nick Sirianni never would have been able to live that down. Howie Roseman, the upper management, never would have been able to live that down. So it was probably the decision that needed to be made. But here's the thing about it. It was made for the team, on behalf of the team, with the team's best interest in mind. Okay, so I'm Saquon Barkley. Yeah. Okay, you made that decision. Now that's gone. I'm not going to get, yes, I did get 2,000 yards, but I'm still in a wagon. I'm in the back of a truck with 9 other guys, or 8 other guys. There's 9 of us. I had an opportunity to be at the top, driving the truck. All right? And it probably never would have been broken again. So you're taking that away from me. So now, here's I said all that to say this. Now, you better win the Super Bowl. We did this for the team, so the team need to do something for me. I did this for the team, so the team need to do something for me. We better win the Super Bowl, because can you imagine getting into the playoffs, maybe losing in the playoffs, whenever, or getting to the Super Bowl and losing the Super Bowl? Now Saquon ain't got nothing. He don't have a record, and he ain't got a Super Bowl. He got nothing. All that work for nothing. They better win the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna tell you something. You would see the pouting on my face, and I'm a team. Don't take this wrong. Don't take this the wrong way when I say this. At some point, when you are an NFL player, you got to have a chip on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of words that I want to say that I'm not going to say on this podcast, because it puts me in and letting my coach know I am your freaking guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm close to achieving something, damn it, let me have it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go get it. And the thing is, I don't move in fear.
Right.
I don't move in fear. And the thing is, you get that 100 yards, you break the record, you come out of the game, and guess what? That first playoff game, you come out. You know what that defensive coordinator gonna do? That defensive players are gonna do? They're gonna be like, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
There he is. I didn't even, let me say this. I didn't even come close to doing anything like Saquon did. But there were times I was jogged out on the field to warm up, and I could see him looking at me like, oh, there he is. Yeah. There he is. I just watched his past film. There he is. Go ahead, Mike.
So I'm going to give you the perfect thing to compare that to. And this particularly, because I looked at one of the comments, Richard said, I think the team goals are what they should play the game for. And I'm with you, Fred. Hold on.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hold on. Because I'm going to speak for us as athletes. And
that's
I'm
what
sure
I was
Richard
saying.
is an athlete, was an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, it has to be about you.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. You can play the team sport and so on and so forth. I'll give you the perfect example and how it's important to the team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had minutes left in that football game, and they ran that play so Mike Evans could get his individual
$3 million
award, if you will.
Yep, $3 million.
It was, and you see how they celebrated him. It was important.
Right.
So those bonuses, those individual things are important for each player.
Exactly.
So don't let anybody fool you, Richard. We all had incentives in our contracts, and we knew if we were close to getting them, and we wanted to be in the game to get X amount of catches, X amount of yards. Those things are a part of being a player within a team. So let's not discount that. It's taking nothing away from wanting to win the Super Bowl, wanting to do it for the team. But there's some records, there's some individual goals that each player, and that's the dog that's in him. And that's why he gets up every day and goes and battles, because there's some individual things that he wants to accomplish. So that's all part of it.
Let me give you the opposite end of the sphere for the team. Because there were many times that I played on the field in excruciating pain. Mike knows this. Mike was there. There were times that I went out on the field for the freaking team. Shot up, shouldn't have been out on the field. Shouldn't have been playing. Put myself in danger. And my toe hurts too today. Where's the team now? Where's my team now taking care of me? When I put my life in danger for the team. So it ain't always about the team. Because guess what? The team ain't always going to be there for you. I walk around in pain because I did something for the team when I stopped thinking about myself. I should have been thinking about myself. And I wouldn't be walking around in pain right now. But I did it for the team. Now where's the team take care of me? What am I getting from the team now?
Because there's a balance. I mean, there's a balance with the whole thing. I mean, I saw, and you saw, I'm sure, Fred, I saw Irv take a needle. They took a needle and took about this much of fluid out of his knee just before the game, drained his knee. And I'm sitting here like, I mean, they stuck that needle. That needle had to be about that long, and they threw it in his knee
for the team.
Play.
For the team.
So
it wasn't for me. If I was thinking about me, I wouldn't have went out there. I wouldn't have got that needle. And I did needles like that every game my last year in Philadelphia in my big toe because I had a broken toe. I'm going to go out there for the team. Stupid my behind. I'm stupid behind. There's a fine line between being tough and being stupid. And I was stupid a whole lot. But you don't find that out until later. Talking about team.
Come back, Irv.
I'm sorry.
Come back.
I get people don't know, but they don't know. I had Eric Dickerson on my
here.
I had Eric Dickerson on my podcast this past week. He's like, people talk and they ain't never been on the field. They ain't never had to play in the cold. They ain't never got hit before. They ain't never had to play with a sore shoulder. They ain't never had to play with a sore foot. Never been out. They never done it. And they have opinions, but they don't know what they're talking about.
But that's fine. But that's okay. But that's why we're here to educate them. So let's just educate people that may not have had those experiences. Let's just educate them. That's all.
I'm gonna go back and clip that and post that. I got kind of excited there, didn't I?
You gonna be okay? All right,
Tylenol. Serena, can I get a Tylenol? I need Tylenol. Whoa, good God.
You need a time out.
I done worked myself up to a hissy. Good Lord.
Hey,
where we
the
at?
dog doesn't die. The dog never dies.
Don't die.
The dog never dies. Let's get to the wild card games, man.
Okay. Next week we're gonna do wide receiver of the year.
That's right. We forgot about
No, we're just gonna do it next year because we're running low. We're running late. Yeah, so next week we'll do a wide receiver of the year. That will still stand based on obviously the regular season.
Okay, cool.
So we got 6. Right. It is wild card weekend. Boy, I can't believe it's the end of the season already, man. So we have 6 games this weekend. Yeah. One Saturday at 4:30, one Saturday at 8 p.m., one Sunday at 1 o'clock, one Sunday at 4:30, one Sunday at 8 p.m., and one Monday night football. Good Google Moogle. So, Mike, you going to tell us where we are with our picks right now, or you want to wait until after this?
No, we'll wait till another time because I got to tally them up. I didn't do that homework. I was busy on the playoffs.
Come on. The show come on the same time every week. Well, we weren't on the last 2 weeks. You had 2 weeks to get it together, man. What you been doing? You had 2 weeks to tally up the numbers.
I have life. Life happens.
We all have life. To my life.
Can we do wild card stuff?
So what are we doing? Are we giving a take on it, or are we just making our pick?
Hey, let's make a pick.
Just make the picks. All right. So I'm gonna keep this screen here, so I don't want to give everybody your own screen, and I'm just gonna name the games. All right. We're doing one at a time. I'll start, and then Fred. So the first game is Saturday at 4 p.m. It's the Chargers at. What's going on with the?
There it is.
Maybe the fires in California are affecting us. This is like three different segments in our.
There it is.
It's back on again.
You're back.
Back on.
All right, we're back.
Man, you gotta pay your bill, man. What you doing? You gotta pay your bill, man. What you doing? You gotta pay your bill,
We sent you
Don't
a
get
check.
me started. Don't get 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 me started. I just came down from a high.
Chargers. Who you got? Chargers.
I think
Okay.
Justin Herbert is balling, and the Texans, C.J. Stroud, he's too inconsistent this year.
Okay.
What you got, Fred?
You doing one at a time.
Yeah.
I got the Chargers, but I think it's what I call a hot game. It's a head or tails. I got two hot games, but the other is in my opinion are all heads and who I think should win. But I think the Chargers should take this.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if C.J. Stroud take this.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if C.J. Stroud, I know they went to the playoff last year. They lost
Who you
against
picking, man? Who you
they lost
picking?
against Baltimore. I just said I had the Chargers. So now
Okay.
you had a chance to talk about it. I got the
didn't talk that
Chargers.
long.
I got the Chargers.
All right. You good?
Yeah, okay. I have to be good. Irv to shut me up. You put me on mute.
I can do that. Yeah, I sure can.
So I'm going with the Chargers. Houston's playing like hot garbage. I mean, scoring 2 points on Christmas. I mean, on Christmas you got to score more than 2 points on Christmas just because it's Christmas.
That's not even a field goal.
Oh my gosh, 2 points, and he's had. I mean, he's just getting sacked, holding on the ball. I don't know what's going on, but they're going in a different direction than what they were mid-season.
Right.
So they're like the Steelers on that side of town. So I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah. All right.
Saturday wildcard game, 8 p.m. Steelers at the Ravens. Just like Fred said, it's a new dance. It's a Steelers slide. Russell Wilson is
Pittsburgh slide.
He's just a vapor of what he used to be. They're on a four game losing streak, and the Ravens are on a 4-game winning streak. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Justin Fields in this game because Russell Wilson is just under 18 points, 4 straight games, under 20 points, 6 of the last 8 games. He just, for whatever reason, has gone kaput. And I don't know what it is, but they're not going down to Baltimore and beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Not going to happen.
All right. Once again, they're not going to do it. They lost the last 4. I don't think they're going to pull it out. As a matter of fact,
bro, something's going on for it to keep
something's
popping.
Going on.
Yeah, something's going on for it to keep popping off and on like that.
All right, so I'm going to go with the.
I'm trying.
You're back?
Cool. Yeah, we're back.
For a hot minute?
For a minute.
Everybody's like, what the hell going on?
Yeah, we keep going in and out.
All right.
We're going in and out. We're going to try and get finished. All right, I'm going with Baltimore. Steelers, like you said, they're just bad right now. And Pickens, he had one reception. Pickens had one reception against the Bengals. So they can't depend on him. So guess what he's doing? Russell's holding the ball, trying to find somebody to throw the ball to. And they're not running the ball well. So there's no way they're going to Baltimore and win. So I'm going with Baltimore. That one's pretty easy.
Sunday wild card round, 1 o'clock game, Broncos at Buffalo, period. Again, like I said earlier, Buffalo's doing stuff that nobody's ever done in the history of the NFL. 30 touchdowns through the air, 30 touchdowns on the ground. There's no way in the world, that the Broncos can go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo. No way. No way. I'm going with Buffalo.
Denver has accomplished all they need to accomplish, and they've done a great job with what they have. Rookie quarterback. They're okay. They won't be Buffalo in Buffalo. Buffalo wins.
So I'm going to take a flyer just for the heck of it. Why not? Why not? Just to tick Richard off. Just throw it out there.
I don't think Richard's going right now.
I'm going for the upset. I'm going for the upset. You know why? The Broncos has a pretty decent defense. And I think this game you will see these young cats have not been in a playoff game. And talking about Buffalo's receiver. Amari has, but those other young cats, no. And so I'm thinking that the Broncos, they got a shot. And they're riding high. I mean, I see the quarterback. He's playing great.
Come on, man. They beat the B team for Kansas City. They beat the B team for Kansas City. They riding high on that, please.
and I'm gonna take a flyer and say Broncos gonna go in there and upset. Okay, there
Hey,
you go.
hey, Mike, Irv telling
What?
his age. He said the B team, not the second.
That's the B team. It's the B team.
The B
Yeah,
team.
and that's why I said it like that
the
too.
B
It's the B
team.
team. Yep, it's the B team.
So let me ask you a question. Is it every playoffs? There's always a game. Would you agree that there's always a game that you're like, wow? Yes or no?
Yeah, and
Yes.
I think that's the Packers Eagles game. I'm picking the Eagles, but if the Eagles don't come in there straight,
No. You
or
can't go but. You can't go
No,
but.
you
You got to
can't
pick them or
go
not.
but.
no,
Can't do
I'm
that.
picking the Eagles. I'm saying, but there's a chance, like you're saying, for it to be one of those upsets. If the Eagles don't play like they need to play,
Of course, there's the
they
chance.
could get upset by this game. But I'm
But
picking the Eagles.
I'm picking my pick. You're not
Well, that's
picking
your
your
pick.
pick.
Of
You're
course.
talking
But
about
that's not the game to pick that pick. You should pick that pick with the Eagles.
That's terrible.
So
All right.
Christian Watson is down. I'm sad about that. It was
Yeah.
sad to watch that. Bad to watch it because nobody touched him.
Yeah.
He made a move
ACL.
ACL. Boom. Remember? Were you there, Mike, when Gerard Phelan did the same thing? Pretty much. You remember Gerard Phelan? Gerard Phelan was the one who caught that ball that Doug Flutie threw, that long pass he threw, Hail Mary. He's down in Miami, Boston College, in that that bowl game. Anyway,
Right.
he was
I
drafted
remember
by
the receiver.
yeah, he was drafted by the Patriots, came into camp. First day of camp, he's running the out route and did the same thing. Never played it down in the NFL. Nobody touched him.
Wow.
Running the route, blew out his knee. Yeah. So, and he was a high round draft choice. So Christian Watson's
Right.
down, and he's averaging 21 yards a catch. He's got like 620 yards with 29, 28 catches. He's the big playmaker, but he's out. And Jordan Love is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's just,
Yep.
the Eagles got to play. And then Jalen Hurts been out. He just practiced today for the first time since he went out 3.5 weeks ago after playing 11, 12 downs against Washington. So it's very likely
Rusty.
he's going to be rusty. It's very likely that the offense is going to stutter and stumble for the first quarter and a half, 2 quarters probably. So if they got to come out and do it right. Dallas Goedert's back, but Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Eagles beat them once. They'll beat them again. They in Philly. I don't think anybody, in my opinion, if like you said, Irving, if they're clicking, I don't think anybody can come in there and beat them in
Right.
Philly.
Right.
Which is why I was one. Of course, we were rooting for them to have home field advantage. Green Bay does not beat Philly in Philly.
Holly
wins.
Golightly is still watching. Yes, we are still live, Holly. We're still live for a few more
So,
minutes.
Holly.
We're making our picks for the week.
All right.
Wild
Well,
card
that's a sweet.
weekend.
All right, Mike.
I'm going with the Eagles as well.
Okay.
Packers don't have enough gunpowder. All right.
Now, the next one's Sunday Night Football, 8 p.m. on Sunday night, the Commanders at Tampa Bay. This is a tough one for me because, the doggone Baker Mayfield, you just sometimes you think he's going to throw the interceptions. You think the old Baker Mayfield's going to show up, and then he pulls it out somehow, some way. I'm gonna go. Gosh, I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay in this game. I just have a hard time trusting that the Commanders are going to be able to go down there, though they're dangerous. That Jaden Daniels, bro, he's not your regular rookie quarterback. I watched him in that game down there in Washington a few weeks ago, and quarterbacks that have the ability to run like he does and the Jalen Hurts do, they tend to get out of the pocket a little bit quicker than they need to be. But that cat, he stays there. He stays in the pocket. He steps up in the pocket. He's always looking to throw the ball, and he can throw it, Doc. He can throw it on a rope and throw it in a small space. He's dangerous. But and he's the best in the league, number 1 quarterback in the league against the blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Todd Bowles like the
The
blitz.
only reason I'm going to go with Washington is because the quarterback is number 1 against the blitz, and I know that Todd Bowles is a sucker for blitzing young quarterbacks. And if Jalen Daniels gets blitzed and he carries out the responsibilities, it's going to be over for him. I'm going to give it to Washington. It was one of my hot games. It was one of my head or tail games. But I think, with Todd Bowles is going to run his defense. And
Yeah.
part of his scheme is blitzing, and you blitzing against the number one quarterback against the blitz.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go with Washington.
I'm just reading. I'm just reading what Richard Melton is saying. He said Mike Timpson predicted the 49ers would be in the postseason.
Injuries, Richard. Don't get mad at me because Buffalo gonna lose. So anyway, Fred, I'm gonna go with you, Fred, because I like that idea with this quarterback because you know as well as I do when they go man to man and they have their back to Jaden Daniels, he's gonna take off.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I didn't realize he had 800, almost 900 yards rushing this year. He had 890 yards. Rushing.
He can ball.
So if they do that, I'm expecting him to go for 100 yards. So I'm going to go with Washington on the upset as well, Fred. It's hard. That's a tough one, but I'm going to go with that reason because these are two good offenses, and Baker is
the 4 and 5, 4th and 5th ranked offense. Two good offense, real good offense, and both defenses are middle range defenses. So it's a toss up. It's the team that's obviously that executes the best. And
here's the last reason. Tampa, the last couple of games or so, they have started really slow and ugly. A lot of penalties. They haven't started out well. So something's going on there. They try to turn it on at the end. So I'm Washington's hot, and I think that quarterback has that team believing. Dan Quinn, defensive minded coach, he'll have something up his sleeve for Tampa. So
Last
game Monday Night Football, 8 p.m. Vikings at the Rams. Now, oh my gosh. We saw the Vikings. I thought it was going to be a better game than that. We all thought it was going to be a better game than that, but we saw them get trounced, Detroit Lions, and I'm looking at Sam Darnold. A big reason that game was lost the way it was lost was because Sam Darnold, the old Sam Darnold, showed up. The new Sam Darnold did not show up. I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened to him? He's played over the season way better, a lot better than we saw in that game against Detroit. So I'm just going to that game out, and I'm going to believe that Sam Darnold's going to show back up in this game against the Rams because the Rams are the lowest scoring team out of any team that's in the playoffs. They have not, I don't know what's been going on. They've just not been throwing the ball like he needs to. The only bright spot they've had is the running back and Williams, 1,299 yards, 14 touchdowns. The Vikings defense is number 1 in interceptions. So they give them a better chance of winning, I believe, even if Sam Darnold sputters a little bit. But I believe he's going to bounce back this week, and they're going to go in there and they're going to beat the Rams. And they're going to beat the Rams pretty good, I believe.
I actually think it's going to be more of a nail biter. I think the fact that they're playing in LA, that the Rams are going to try to turn it up a notch. I think Minnesota's going to win, but I think it's going to be a closer game than it's not going to be a blowout. I say Minnesota.
Let me say this too. Keenan McCardle is the wide receivers coach for the Vikings, and I talked to him. He said Justin Jefferson is the truth. Justin Jefferson got handled in that game against Detroit. He got handled.
Manhandled.
And minimized. Watch for him to have a big game.
Yeah, because the Rams don't have the horses that Detroit had to do that to the quarterback and Jefferson this game. So I'm thinking that they're gonna have big games. The Vikings will come out and they'll rebound against the Rams. So I'm expecting the Vikings to pull that one off.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And that is.
Well, that's it, Mike. You're going to give us a tally, Mike? Were you tallying up?
Or you going to wait till next week?
No, I'm going to tally it up after this game. I mean, after this weekend, and then I'll have them for you next week.
That's all right.
Is that okay?
he looking like,
is that okay, boss man?
No,
is that
it's
okay,
not
boss
okay.
man?
No, I want to know who's winning. Never mind. We'll wait till next week.
Because remember, it hasn't changed because we were off vacationing in Honduras and all other places.
Yeah, but then we made picks before we went off, though. We made some picks before we went off. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Okay, we'll talk about
we didn't make no picks.
We'll do a sidebar when we're
all
right, y'all. Holly, Go Lightly, good to see you. Eddie Casper's in the house. Richard Melton is in the house.
Holly.
Billy Bell is in the house. Good to see you. I know
It's
my mom
Betty
probably
Bell.
gave
It's
up
Betty
my name.
Bell.
Betty Bell. It's not Betty Bell. Shush. Stop. Stephen Pace is in the house. Bucks Nation is in the house. I don't know if they kept watching us or not when we kept going in and out, but we appreciate you being on for the short time. Listen, let people know about Wideout's World. We're here every Wednesday night. Something going on.
All right.
Get a new computer.
Better let it go like a love TKO.
All right, y'all, we're out of here. Got to go before we cut off again.
Holla.
Wideout's World. We'll see y'all next week. We're out.
This has been Wideout's World. Touchdown. Not one, not two, but three NFL legends. Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Are you freaking kidding me? If it's football talk you're looking for, I think we've got you covered. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on YouTube at Wideout's World. See you next time.
Let's go! Let's go! Go!